KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. All new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Coming up on KUAM News Prime Time, the greatest hits from the legislature as the Department of Administration appears for the budget battle. Contraband found once again in other news inside the Department of Corrections, and he's first up to speak to the Rotary. Straight ahead, you hear from candidate for Attorney General, Levin Camacho. Hafa my friends, good evening. Thanks so much for watching or streaming us live. We appreciate you tuning in. Up for its budget hearing, but put on notice, the Department of Administration was grilled by senators about the ongoing delays of hiring critical positions.
The concerns also highlighting the apparent use of special funds DOA officials say was taken to help cover other government spending like payroll. KUAM's Nick Delgado reports.
A budget presentation that failed to meet its oversight chair's expectations.
I'm not sure if I should just express my disappointment or my utter dismay at this presentation.
DOA presented its mission defending its existence, but Speaker B.J. Cruz saying he expected more.
The Human Resource Department is the kidney. And surely you've heard every department come through here, and when we've asked them, why haven't you filled your 42 positions at Department of Revenue and Taxation? Because we haven't been able to get it through Department of Administration. Why haven't you picked up all your GPD officers? Well, we couldn't get it through Department of Administration HR. We did 1 year. We went through the whole process. Then it became a year, and it expired, and we had to do it again.
The issue follows a series of budget hearings from other agencies calling out delays by DOA.
The process just takes a long time. And, you know, we heard the budget hearings, we heard other departments, you know, i.e., you know, throwing us under the bus. We are well prepared to defend ourselves. It's not, trust me, it's not all on DOA holding these applications or these GG1s. It behooves us to leave it on our desk and hold it and delay the hiring. Absolutely not. We know what's needed at the GPD. We know what's needed at Guam Fire. We know what's needed at revenue tax, especially revenue tax.
The discussion then shifting as senators each took a jab at DOA leaders about the transferring of special funds. Funding officials say was taken to help cover costs elsewhere and avert payless paydays. Senator Tom Addett focused on the special funds designated for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission.
The irony of it all is that by taking those funds, general fund money cannot and should not be used to do work on Chamorro Land Trust property. So it's like taking Dave Davis's tax dollars to go in there into the Chamorro Land Trust property to survey the property in there. So now that that money has been taken away, they're going to have to wait until they build it up again before we can go in there and do the survey of those properties. And that's what's holding up the issuance of leases.
Well, there's current funds in there now, you know, as months go on and so forth. So, you know, the actual funding to do what they want to do within those special funds we would have paid it if they used it. Problem is, they're not using it.
Senator Talina Nelson pressed DOA on special funds taken from GFD's E911.
I'm a little bit disappointed because we had fire stations shut down. We had an incident that happened while one of the fire stations were shut down. And so this put our people at risk of the game of for the risk of a political game or ploy. And for money to be transferred out of these funds back into the general fund because GFD does not have the support they need is beyond me. However you are allocating and moving this money around is very, it's beyond unorthodox, it's wrong. And I don't need anything, I don't need a response from you, Mr. Ariola, because the information that you gave me in March 4th was inaccurate.
We will look into this. I have no communications from FCC.
Ariola says they will put together a complete analysis of the special funds that will include the balance and hand it over to the committee. Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusinek Delgado.
Elsewhere on Island on this Thursday, Reventac expects to rake in more than $16 million from the tax amnesty program. So far, about 500 people have signed up since the May 7th start date. Approved applicants will have penalties and interest waived upon unpaid taxes. Agency Director John Camacho provides an update at today's meeting of the Special Economic Service, GovGuam's financial experts.
As of June 6, 2018, we received about 497 applications with a total cumulative total tax due of 16 million. Of that, about 2.9 million has been paid. This is the 10% or more that's paid. And the balance that is due on or before August 6th, which is basically the last day for the amnesty, is $13 million.
Now, those are the numbers for the income tax and business privilege tax applicants. Camacho says they received 307 amnesty applications for unpaid real property taxes, amounting to about $500,000. The original application deadline was May 29th, but it was extended to June 19th. Also during the SES meeting, outgoing Public Auditor Doris Flores-Brooks discussed a GovGuam surplus for fiscal year 2017 that will reduce the deficit to less than $80 million. Adelup was quick to point out in a news release that the deficit was about $350 million when Governor Eddie Calvo assumed office.
Well, support is growing for the repeal of the 2% general sales tax as more groups weigh in to express their opposition. And lawmakers may decide soon whether to scrap the new tax before it can even take effect.
Mr. Lecanto has our next report.
A public hearing Tuesday on Senator Michael Sanicolas' Bill 262 sets the stage for a possible repeal at this month's legislative session. In an earlier interview, Sanicolas expressed optimism about the measure.
Based on some communications we've been having, we may have the 8 votes necessary to pass the bill, and we may in fact have the 10 votes necessary for an override.
At the hearing, Hotel and Restaurant Association President Mary Rhodes expressed what many in the business community are saying.
We do promote ourselves as a duty-free destination, and we strongly felt, and I put out a cautionary tale to everybody, that the fact that we're even considering that and making changes to our tax system without any economic data or studies is actually very reckless and irresponsible.
But the repeal does not sit well with the hospital and the education department, which will directly benefit from the sales tax. GMH Medical Director Dr. Vincent Dueño says without a dedicated funding source, the hospital will be back to its perennial budget woes.
So we are facing a crisis. We are at a crossroads, and there is a price to pay. But what price do you put on the health care and lives of our people?
The dates for the June legislative session have not yet been set. The sales tax is scheduled to take effect in October. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The prison is left investigating its officers once again after detainee Vincent Siguenza Cruz was found dead at the Post 5 unit, which is the temporary maximum security unit, on Wednesday morning. Agency Chief Tony Lamarena says the internal affairs inquiry is ongoing to determine if officers did properly follow protocol. He does confirm his officers conducted range checks 25 minutes before Cruz was found lifeless. Detainee Cruz, as you may know, was arrested last year after holding a family hostage up in Dedido for several hours. The standoff happened before an apparent shootout with local police. Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Aurelio Espanola performed the autopsy today, confirming that Cruz took his own life. Lamarena says based on those results, the investigation does not include anything criminal in nature.
An inmate at the Department of Corrections faces additional charges after contraband is found inside his cell. Officers conducted a random shakedown Wednesday, finding a cell phone, chargers, iPod, a lighter, 2 crystal-like stones, and a straw. Inmate David Mingiola was arrested and reconfined. The contraband was handed over to GPD's Mandania Drug Task Force for further investigation.
Now, for the past month, jurors heard testimony in the trial for Jeremiah Isizaki, the man charged with plotting to kill a cop. And soon they will deliberate. As reported, it was 6 years ago when Isizaki asked his friend, Janessa Corpus, to help him with GPD officer Benny Babauta to, quote, take him off the streets. Jurors did hear conflicting testimony as to what Isizaki meant by that statement. On the stand this week, he said he believed Babauta had planted a gun and drugs on him in an earlier arrest. Isizaki further stated he wanted to set the cop up for criminal sexual conduct, to have him investigated by GPD's Internal Affairs Unit, and hopefully remove him from the force. Lieutenant Benny Babata is still employed with the Guam Police Department, assigned to support the acting division chief. Closing arguments have been scheduled for tomorrow morning.
He's been on the run since February. Jeremy Evaristo was back in custody and appeared in court today for a return of warrant. Evaristo and his co-defendant Xavier Tatautau are charged with robbing a tourist and her daughter at gunpoint last year. Both entered plea deals in that case. Parties advised the court that Evaristo was released to allow him to witness the birth of his child, but he failed to show up at his sentencing hearing. On Thursday, the court ordered he spend 3 years in jail as outlined by his plea deal. Evaristo just last month was arrested with 2 others in a separate case charged with conspiracy to commit theft of a car.
The man accused of shooting his girlfriend after an argument over burnt rice is expected to enter a plea agreement. Cliff St. Nicholas has already been tried and convicted but won his appeal in the Supreme Court. Though he was scheduled to face a jury this summer, his attorney confirms a deal had been reached. A return hearing is on June 14th.
Defense for a cop charged with possessing child pornography wants the case thrown out. According to the defense's motion for Gregory Quintanilla, the grand jury who indicted him didn't review the material in question. Prosecutors have objected to the dismissal, arguing there was enough evidence. This included the testimony from a police officer who viewed the footage and described the content, as well as material from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, who deemed it pornographic. Also under advisement is the defense's motion to compel discovery. Though Quintanilla appeared in court on Thursday, the motion is still under advisement and no action taken.
Well, life in prison is no doubt difficult, with news coming out of that facility typically leaning towards the negative side. But tonight, we've got a story of hope as we meet a group of prisoners preparing for life on the outside.
Crystal Paco takes us inside the prison.
This isn't your typical graduation ceremony.
Congratulations to us.
They've done their time. Now they're preparing for release back into the community. These 9 ladies will leave the Department of Corrections better than when they arrived, thanks to flipping the script. The 12-week group counseling session program is focused on support and soft skill development. It's the first rehabilitation and reintegration program offered to women in the local prison.
One of the things I've learned is I was raised with negative thinking, always thinking I'm worthless. But one of the things I've learned is I am awesome.
I've learned that I need to work on my approach and my filter. I've learned how to face the employers and how to be a good employee. For me, being in here for 5 years, not having any skills, I'm finally getting the skills that I need before I get out.
We learned from everything from communication to relationships. What I took out of here was we are valued. We have value to the community. We just need the skills.
Whenever I allowed myself to progress so far, I would always do something to sabotage it. And this class gave me the sledgehammer I needed to break through the barriers that held me back for so long. And thank you guys for believing in us.
Not a dry eye in the room. The program was made possible through Fauna Rising, an initiative to assist women in DEPCOR. The program was facilitated by DOC clinical psychologist Dr. Patricia Timinglo and clinical psychologist Dr. Jaylene Kent. Group sessions covered areas including self-esteem building, good time management, good sleep habits, anger management, and more. Each of today's graduates is scheduled to be released within the year.
God bless you all, and may we all meet on the outside of these walls. And next time you see us, we might be working businesswomen like you all.
Congratulations, graduates. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.
And also, Guam Customs has clarified it was 180 cases of cabbage shipped to our island from South Korea that had little creatures that hitched a ride. Agents did intercept and inspect a container back on May 29th, with samples taken over to the Department of Agriculture, who then determined them to be larvae of a ladybug and aphids, which are said to be sap-sucking insects. Now, though not uncommon for officials to find these in produce imports, agents placed a hold on the container. It was fumigated for a couple of hours and now is considered safe for distribution. That's good news.
Yes, it is. We're back with more news after the break.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming of KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy, to the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
A strong economy depends on a strong middle class. Businesses need help to survive in these tough times, and new industries are needed. As your governor, I will propose tax cuts for small businesses. We will streamline government operations to create a more business-friendly environment. We will invest in infrastructure and in our people by expanding opportunities to learn much-needed trades. I'm in to help get us there, and I humbly ask for your vote.
And I approve this message.
In this divided world, there are still things that unite us. Great music, thrilling games, and the love for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam, for the love of burgers menu. For a limited time, get an amazing burger for just $11.99. Lunchtime at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
Well, if you happen to be a vet living in the region, you should register for health benefit through the VA now. This after President Trump signed a law mandating the VA conduct a feasibility study of opening a veterans health clinic in the Marianas. Saipan Congressman Gregorio Sablan says, quote, "The more vets we have, the more likely that the study will justify the cost of a clinic building and full-time VA medical staff to provide service to our veterans." He does hope that a clinic will increase healthcare access to vets living within the Marianas.
Saying the reduction in service will have a devastating effect on the traveling public, CNMI Congressman Gregorio Sablan hopes United Airlines will increase the number of flights between Saipan and Guam each day. He's penned a letter to United CEO Oscar Munoz. On May 31st, United began a once-daily flight between the two islands when Cape Air discontinued providing multiple flights daily. One of the issues he's concerned with is the long wait times for Saipan travelers who fly to Guam to connect to Hawaii and vice versa. He's requesting additional flights as well as an adjustment to the Guam-Saipan-Guam schedule.
Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo's bill to even the playing field for federal funding for fish and wildlife conservation has cleared the Natural Resources Committee of the House of Representatives. The bill is supported by no fewer than 5 U.S. territories as well as the District of Columbia, and it removes barriers to receive full federal funding for wildlife conservation, coastal restoration, and hunter safety projects.
Local concern about military training prompts a response from the Guam Army National Guard. The Guard says should any area or a mission pose unmitigated risk to the public, our soldiers, or the environment, the location will not be used and the mission will be modified or canceled. The goal of the training is to prepare guardsmen in the event of a disaster requiring a medevac unit. But local activist groups raise issue that the training has a negative environmental impact. The annual training is underway and will continue until the 10th.
In Decision 2018 headlines, candidate for Attorney General Attorney Levin Camacho spoke to Island Rotarians today. And amid a number of issues, Camacho wants to streamline a fair procurement process, as well as hold more village meetings to encourage transparency between the Office of the Attorney General and the community at large.
What the offer is going to be pragmatism,
practical solutions and working with the community to improve, the end user.
Attending members did raise questions about budget shortfalls for the next fiscal period that could hinder the AG's hopefuls' proposals. Camacho, in response, says most of his proposals could be done with current and possibility limited resources.
A long-distance swimmer who conquered the Atlantic 20 years ago is now taking on the Pacific.
He started his journey off the coast of Japan and is now more than 1,500 miles north of our island. Jim Axelrod has this very compelling story.
This morning, off the coast of Japan.
Right now, in the water, and ready to go.
51-year-old Ben Lecomte treaded water in the Pacific Ocean. He was wearing a wetsuit, but cloaked in understatement.
Looking forward to the big crossing.
Big crossing doesn't begin to cover it. Lecomte, a Frenchman now living in Texas, is attempting a 6-month, 5,600-mile swim across the Pacific Ocean to San Francisco, a long-awaited bookend to his prior swim across the Atlantic 2 decades ago.
I know I was going to go back to the project eventually.
Already 11 miles in, Lecomte will be swimming right through a migration area for great white sharks. But it's the danger the planet is in that's on Lecomte's mind, like climate change and pollution. He designed his route to pass through a collection of microplastic refuse, roughly the size of Germany, France, and Britain combined.
I remember times where we go on the beach and walk and never see any plastic. Now everywhere I go on the beach, I see plastic everywhere.
Lecomte plans to swim 8 hours at a stretch, eating 8,000 calories a day, resting each evening on a support boat. If he makes it, he'll be the first to swim the Pacific. He's already the first to have soloed the Atlantic.
The physical aspect of it, swimming, yeah, it's difficult and all that, but what is much more difficult is to be in that very hostile environment, and the mind has to be super strong.
Ben Lecomte is shaking off any personal threat. More important, he says, is drawing attention to the far greater peril facing the planet.
You can track his expedition across the Pacific live on thelongeststream.com.
That is an amazing trek. And speaking of traveling off island, 2 students from JFK High School got their airfare covered as the Department of Administration has approved mileage award tickets to Taryn Rupley, attending the National Student Leadership Conference of Medicine and Healthcare over at UCLA, and Lorenzo Joralan, who's participating in the National Youth Leadership Forum at Johns Hopkins in Maryland. Very impressive. It's the second time the mileage program is being used to fund educational opportunities.
Stay tuned. Sports is coming up next, but first, here's your weather forecast.
Super Sale event. Enjoy huge savings on our most popular Samsung Galaxy smartphones. But this offer won't last long. So drop into a GTA store today.
Introducing the Alpha Plus app. With the rewards feature, you can earn points and get free rewards. Filing insurance claims gets no easier, as you can receive feedback within 24 hours. Easily check your insurance balance and insurance policy with the My Policy feature. So download the all-new Alpha Plus app on Google Play or the App Store. Alpha Plus, make every day a plus.
It's a celebration at Cars Plus in Mighty. And during our Jeep Celebration event, you'll save thousands on every new Jeep in stock, like a new 2018 Compass. Save up to $3,750. Or save up to $4,000 on a new 2018 Cherokee. How about a new Renegade? Save up to $6,000. Plus, buy today and receive a Cars Plus value card, where you get 21 cents off per gallon at all Shell stations. Hurry in for our Jeep Celebration event, going on now at Cars Plus in Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports, brought to you by Triple J. Special Olympics Guam is ready for the aquatics event this Saturday at the Agana Pool. Swimmers ready to hit the waters. Check it out. The 42nd Annual Special Olympics Aquatics event is this Saturday at the Agana Pool. Athletes put in 8 weeks of training in preparation for this weekend's competition. The program is open to individuals with intellectual, learning, and physical disabilities.
I'm expecting 47 adult athletes and 23 youth athletes, so 60 athletes altogether. Our youngest is 8 years old, and our oldest competitor is 52 this year.
All 60-plus athletes will be competing in a total of 67 heats throughout the day with breaks in between to award medals.
We have aqua jog, anywhere from 10-meter aqua jog to 50-meter aqua jog, and that's for our athletes that are a little bit lower skilled or not really interested in the competition, want to work on just some exercise. And then we also have breaststroke and kickboard races, backstroke, freestyle. We have flotation device races, for folks that have a little bit difficulty with kicking and keeping themselves up, but they love to swim the freestyle. So we have a really big variety.
Special Olympics Guam is a global movement run entirely by volunteers who provide the power necessary to ensure every athlete is offered a sports training and competition experience and empower each athlete to be productive citizens.
At the very end, we have a victory potluck. Families are donating entrees and stuff and side dishes for the athletes and everybody there to enjoy after the competitions. So we also are barbecuing hamburgers and hot dogs there. So it should be a really fun day.
The 2018 GYBA Drug-Free Youth Basketball League tips off this Saturday. The league is sponsored by the Dedido, Jigo, and Barragata Mayor's Office, DPR, DYA, McDonald's of Guam, and KFC. Teams for both boys and girls in the U8 to U18 divisions will hit the court for a chance to be crowned champions. Games for Saturday will be played at the Estumbo and Guam Sports Complex gyms beginning at 9:30 in the morning. Nissan will host its 9th annual 7.5K and 2K flag run Saturday at Nissan Upper Tumon. This year, the event is partnering up with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Guam, Catholic Social Services, and Guam Girl Scouts. Showtime is at 5 in the morning with race start time scheduled for 6. First 700 finishers will receive a commemorative dry fit t-shirt. Race fees are $10 per person. Registration forms are available at Hornet Sports, Goody Sporting Goods, Girl Scouts, and Nissan Upper Tumon. Awards will be given to the top male and female overall finishers, as well as top finishers in each division. Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
Let's welcome the first-time parents, the people with the dream to be their own boss. Let's welcome the things that inspire us, connect us. Let's welcome the college graduations, new beginnings, and happy ever afters. At Bank of Hawaii, we'd like to welcome you to all the new adventures, the next chapters, and all the great things you have to look forward to. Welcome to tomorrow. Bank of Hawaii.
We only have 30 seconds to describe the newest specialty flavor in the Signature Crafted Recipes collection by McDonald's, garlic white cheddar. It's layered with a slice of smooth, perfectly melty white cheddar cheese, a crunchy medley of tasty, crispy garlic chips, a dramatic drizzle of smooth, delicious, and flavorful, delectably creamy garlic aioli, all come together with a mouth-wateringly juicy tomato slice and crisp iceberg lettuce atop crispy buttermilk chicken on a soft, warm artisan roll. Luckily, you can take all the time you need to savor every bite. The Signature Crafted Recipes collection by McDonald's.
Beat the increase at Triple J. Buy now before the sales tax starts. 0 down, 1.9% financing, and easy trade-in. Now is the time to buy. Get into a 2018 Mazda CX-5 at our lowest price yet, only $19,995. Or our big boy truck, the Ford F-150, starting at $298 per paycheck. Or the North American Car of the Year, the 2018 Honda Accord at only $206 per paycheck. Beat the increase and buy now at Triple J. Visit us online at triplejguam.com and get pre-approved instantly. Trade-ins welcome. Some conditions apply. Triple J Auto Group. Customers first.
All right, everybody, we have some birthday shout-outs to get to, including a member of our crew and a very, very good friend of ours. Hafa Day and happy birthday to the following new members of the club. Connor Munoz, happy 5th birthday. This comes from Mommy and Daddy who say they love you. Also happy birthday, number 17, to Ashley Samiliano. We love you from Mom, Ed, and all of your siblings. Happy birthday to one of our very own here, the very dapper, very handsome Andy Wheeler up in I-94 FM. Happy birthday from your KUAM family. And happy birthday to Keisha Onadera Garrido. Have a blessed birthday. This is belated birthday wishes to Keisha. We hope you had a great day. All right, anybody can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery. You could possibly win a free ice cream cake. And you know what that really goes well with, Brie?
What?
Italian food, which I really, really like.
Right, and we have Italian food on In the Mix next.
Ooh.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E. In the Mix is presented by California Pizza Kitchen. Visit them today at the Holiday Resort Hotel.
Hafa Day, everybody. I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani, and welcome to another episode of In the Mix. We begin by featuring the Guam Army National Guard and their recent Heroes Run.
Watch your step. Hey-o. Hey-o.
Go. Led by the 1st 294th Infantry Command Regiment Commander, Lieutenant Colonel David Santos, almost 600 soldiers ran through the village of Sinahanya for a hero's run.
We have a total of 6 fallen heroes from the Guam National Guard. And what we try to do is we honor them at least once a quarter. So we have all the different units with the Guam National Guard that pay tribute to their families, show them respect, and just to let them know that we haven't forgotten.
A part of the run included stopping at the Gold Star family home in infamy of Specialist Dwayne Flores, who was killed in action while deployed to Afghanistan in May 2013.
I just want to tell the soldiers thank you for everything.
We all missed him. And we thank the troops for their support.
Battalion! Hold! Stand! Fight!
And all our brothers. Okay, so thank you very much again for your sacrifices. Thank you for your support. And if there's anything that you need, please let us know. Yes, he's our brother. So anything you need, let us know. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Commander Santos was not in charge of the battalion in 2013, but